Hello friends, today we see the next topic, that is a force vibration. Now when the body vibrates under the influence of an external periodic excitation force or disturbing force, then body is said to be under force vibration. There are many examples of force vibration. Here we see air compressor, IC engines. These are the example of force vibration. Ringing of an electric bell, it is also example of force vibration. So which are the different types of external excitation force we see? First is the periodic forces, second one is the impulsive forces, third one is the random forces. Types of vibration due to this external excitation or external excitation forces, that is a deterministic vibration. If we know the magnitude of external excitation force, then it is a deterministic vibration. And if we don't know the magnitude of external excitation force, then it is a random vibration. Generally the earthquake, it is an example of random vibration. When we analyze the force dam vibration system, now again we consider a simple system. It is a spring mass damper system, and the excitation, harmonic excitation, is given F naught sine omega t. When we see the diagram D, this is a free body diagram. F naught sine omega t, this will give the excitation and x along the x direction. So F naught sine omega t, it is on the downward side force. Inertia force due to whatever the mass of the system, it is again on the downward side. And the restoring forces, that is the stiffness force or spring force, and second one is the damping force, that these two forces on the upward side. And when we write the equation of motion, then it is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to F naught sine omega t. Again, when we try to simplify this equation, it is a linear non-homogeneous second order differential equation. So to find out the solution of this equation, again we get the solution in two parts, that is a complementary function and particular integral. Complementary function solution we already see in the previous unit in the damped vibration, that is for this term mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx. When there is no excitation, it is equal to 0. We find out the solution for this. Now we have to find out the solution for particular integral. Now let's consider xp is equal to x sine omega t minus phi. This is the solution. Suppose we differentiate this to find out the velocity term, that is the x dot, then we get omega x cos omega t minus phi. This is a differentiation of the above term, and we can write in terms of sine omega x sine in bracket omega t minus phi plus pi by 2. Again we double differentiate this term, then we get x double dot is equal to minus omega square x sine omega t minus phi. To avoid the minus sign, we again write this term in this way, omega square x sine omega t minus phi plus pi. Now we put all these three values for displacement, velocity and acceleration in this equation 1. This is the fundamental equation of force damped vibration. Then we get the equation, modified equation, that is m omega square x sine omega t minus phi plus pi plus c omega x sine omega t minus pi plus pi by 2 plus kx sine omega t minus pi is equal to f naught sine omega t. Suppose we take all the term on one side, then we can write f naught sine omega t minus m omega square x sine omega t plus minus pi plus pi, this is the inertia term, minus c omega x sine in bracket omega t minus pi plus pi by 2 bracket complete. This is a damping term, minus kx sine in bracket omega t minus pi. This is a stiffness term is equal to 0. When we write this equation, we have four terms. These four terms are nothing but four forces term actually. That is, first is the excitation term, that is the excitation force. Second term, that is the inertia force. Third is the damping force. Fourth one is the spring force. And when we equate to 0, this is nothing but this is a by D'Alembert's principle again. Let's find out the graphical solution for force dam vibration. So see here in this diagram, First term I locate f naught sine omega t. See here, this is our reference axis, that is x, positive x direction, this is negative x direction, this is positive y direction, this is negative y direction. So from this reference axis I locate the forces. So f naught I locate at sine omega t, then I locate m omega square x. When we see the magnitude of this from the equation, see here in the equation sine omega t minus phi plus pi. So it has some lag, it is not at omega t, it has some lag, that is phi. So I locate below this f naught m omega square x. Again it is plus phi, so direction should be on this side, but as we see the magnitude of this inertia force, it is a negative. So instead of this direction we locate on this side m omega square x. The next term, that is a damping force, we see the damping force again sine omega t minus pi plus pi by 2. It is sine omega t minus pi, so it should be perpendicular to this as plus pi by 2 is there, but again we see it has a minus sign. So instead of vertical direction on the upper side, it is showing on the downward side. See omega square x, it is on the downward side. Again the next term is kx sine omega t, again sine omega t, so it is exactly on this side. Again x is the displacement term, so it is should be on this side, but again it has a minus sign. So whatever the vector of this spring term, it should be, or stiffness term, it should be on the opposite side. So kx, it is on this side. So in this way we locate all these four vectors. Now we make few adjustment for these vectors. Now instead of m omega square x I showing at this point, this vector I can show at the origin also. Same I see here in the second diagram, m omega square x, it is from the center, but the direction is same, as the vector direction is important, so I show the direction on the same side. See omega x, instead of showing on this side I showing behind the origin. So suppose I show at this point and I shift, instead of showing at this point I shift at this point, see omega x, or we can show at this point also, no problem. Kx, instead of showing on this, the direction is on this side, so I keep the direction same, but instead of showing at the origin I keep at some distance, as we know that because of the stiffness term it is not exactly on the displacement, it may have some other value. So I locate at this point this vector, so I get this modified diagram, and if not it is at same place, so I get this modified diagram, that is force polygon diagram. I focus only on this side. Suppose we have to find out the magnitude of maybe angle or maybe f naught, so I focus only on triangle. So I show here only the triangle in the diagram B O P A. This is a triangle. Now suppose I have to find out the magnitude of excitation force. From this diagram we can easily find out by using a Pythagoras. We can easily find out this f naught square, this is a diagonal, so f naught square is equal to square of this term and this term. So we see in the next slide, this f naught is equal to under root in bracket kx minus m omega square x, complete bracket, square c omega x square. And now we have to find out basically the dynamic amplitude. So we take x common from the right hand side and we write the total equation in terms of x. So we get the equation in this way: f naught by k. F naught by k is nothing but it is a zero frequency deflection. Basically it is, this term is called as zero frequency deflection. We can write in terms of x naught, f naught by k is equal to x naught, or it is in some books it is written as x suffix st, that is a static deflection or zero frequency deflection. Our modified equation, we get x is equal to x naught by under root in bracket 1 minus frequency ratio square, complete bracket square, plus 2 into zeta frequency ratio whole bracket square. x by x naught, that is a dynamic deflection to the zero frequency deflection ratio, that is also called as magnification factor. We write the magnification factor x by x naught is equal to 1 upon under root in bracket 1 minus frequency ratio square whole bracket square plus in bracket 2 into zeta omega by omega n bracket square, where zeta is nothing but it is a damping ratio. It is C by Cc, or it is called as damping coefficient by critical damping coefficient. Now let us see what is the importance of magnification factor in the next diagram. Now here is the frequency response curve. Now whatever the behavior of the system, to understand the system dynamically, we have to learn this graph, that is the magnification factor versus frequency ratio. Basically it is the amplitude ratio versus frequency ratio. Now again in this damping is important, so here we see the damping conditions also. So first we see the undamped condition, when there is no damping in the system, only spring and mass is there, no damping. In that case, when it is at rest, your magnification factor is coming 1. So here when there is no damping and there is R is equal to 0, system is at rest, magnification factor is 1, so our curve is always start from 1. When we increase the omega n, when it is equal to omega is equal to omega n, when it is equal to natural frequency, omega is the working frequency or whatever the rotating frequency of system, and when it is equal to the natural frequency of the system, our magnification factor and system is undamped. In that case your magnification factor is infinity. Increase the speed and there is no damping, again we see this curve, it is coming down and this ratio has some value, that is 0.33 we see here. So when omega is double to the omega n, R is equal to 2, we get the magnification factor, calculate this value, that is 0.33. It is, so amplitude is less in this case. Now if we further increase the omega by omega n, R is equal to 3, in that case we again see magnification factor, it is coming down, means whatever the amplitude of vibration it is less. See here the curve, it is coming down, and when it is 1 we see it is at the infinity, and when damping is 0. Now we put some damping there, but it is under damped system, means damping is the value of zeta is less than 1, it is 0.77. Again when omega is equal to omega n, again we get the high amplitude, so system will vibrate as frequency, working frequency is equal to the natural frequency of the system, and when we pass this point, again your curve is coming down, it is a deterministic value, we can determine that value, and see here this value is coming down. And in the same manner as we put the damping, see here when we increase the value of zeta, means we put more damping in the system, automatically the value of magnification factor it is less at high speed also and at low speed also we see. So in this way this curve is very important to understand the dynamic system, dynamic behavior of the system. Next we see phase angle versus frequency ratio. First we see what is, how we calculate the phi. So again we see in this diagram B, phi is nothing but, suppose we have to calculate the phi, tan phi is nothing but BO by BA, and from this we can get the value of phi. So see here it is tan inverse in bracket 2 zeta omega by omega n by 1 minus frequency ratio square. Now we see the phase lag versus frequency ratio, and again how the damping will affect on phase angle at different frequencies. So here again see the table and diagram. When the system is undamped, when zeta is equal to 0, when zeta is equal to 0 and omega is equal to 0, we know that this ratio is equal to 0, phase angle is 0, so our diagram is start from 0. Now we start our system, so the omega has some value, so we start the system. Omega means it is a working frequency, it has some value, so ratio is initially omega is less than omega n, so it is 0.5, and system is undamped. When we calculate the phi, it is again 0. Again system is undamped and we increase the omega, we increase the speed of machine and we calculate the phi. So it is either 0 or it is directly go to the 180. It is directly go to the 180 at undamped condition when zeta is equal to 0. Now we further increase the speed of the machine and it is at 180 degree now. Now again we go for the second condition, we put some damping in the system, that is under damped condition when it is 0.7. Again at rest we get the value of phase angle, it is 0. We get a phase difference when machine is in the working condition always. When we increase the speed and when this ratio is less than omega n, we get some angle. Again when this ratio is 1, omega by omega n is equal to 1, phase angle is 90 degree. We further increase the omega, the speed of machine under the underdamped condition, we get some value of phase angle. Now it is 146 here. Again we increase the damping, it is critically damped when damping coefficient is equal to critical damping coefficient, zeta is equal to 1. Again at rest we get 0 value, and as we increase the omega, as we increase the speed from 1 to 2, 3, so we get some value of phase angle. Same for overdamped condition also, when we provide the more damping in the system, we get the different phase angle at different speed. But one thing we observe in the phase angle, for all the damping condition, all the curves it is passing from 90 degree phase. So it is very important to avoid the 90 degree phase angle, because we generally experience at 90 degree phase angle high vibration in the system. So we have to avoid this condition. So that is the importance of this diagram. Thank you.